Next question is, look, if you had a crystal ball and you could gaze into it and look into the future, look, what do you think science education would look like in the future?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm not very optimistic about science education in the future, partly because I think that that science itself is on a particular trajectory that is being completely ignored by the science education community and anyone who really takes science seriously. I think that science is associated with progress and this notion of an exponential expansion in encountering the world. But that's come about because of a peculiar circumstance in sort of late modernity, which is really just access to kind of energy. I mean, that's the scientific enterprise, if anything, is a manifestation of being able to get access to energy. And that energy has been translated into specialization and complexity. Specialization and complexity leads to kinds of efficiencies, which means that you can get growth, right? Now, the question is, well, what happens when that energy runs out? Or what happens when you get to a point where the level of complexity starts to become detrimental, where the scientific enterprise becomes so big and so convoluted and so complex that that it no longer delivers more than you put into it. So I think that science is fast approaching a level of complexity, a level of super and hyper specialization that there are going to be diminishing returns. And that means that although it's not a threat to the principles of science, to the scientific method, although it's not a threat to how scientists gather themselves or identify themselves, I think it is going to be a threat to the enterprise as just an economic venture, if you like. And that means that science education needs to start thinking now about what science will be like in the future, when coupled with the disinterest in science because of coupled with the disinterest in science because the aesthetic of science is not sufficiently conveyed through science education, plus the fact that science is not going to be as productive as it was in the past, those two factors taken together is going to require a different approach to science education. And my feeling is that that the aesthetic dimension of it will be much more useful than an economic justification, which means that I think if all goes well, we'll no longer be talking about promoting science to young people and promoting STEM fields because they're really good for the economy, but because doing science creates a kind of sort of cultural beauty, which is enduring.
Look, I was just looking at the time there. Look, we might leave it there. Look, I could keep going. We could talk for probably another 30 plus minutes, if not more, but we might leave it there. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Thanks for accepting my invitation, and thanks for